I fucking hate children. They literally make me sick. And when I see babies in a stroller, especially when they're crying, I just want to put my foot through the fucking thing and step on it until it's nothing but blood and pulp on the fucking pavement.
Ah yes, let's talk about this, because everyone wants to talk about this. For the last 5 years, Richard has been getting shit for this 20-second clip of him making this dumb ass joke. Now I have in fact talked about this infamous quote from Richard Burgas when I was 19 years young, when it was still fresh from the press. His channel was rapidly growing and he did and said everything he could to gain traffic to his then growing channel. And yes, this was among the many dumb and distasteful jokes he made, but a joke nonetheless. I understood back then, as a 19-year-old, that Richard is in fact not serious when he says he wants to stomp a child on the pavement. And I think almost everyone knows that, yet still to this day people talk about it like it's the worst thing to ever happen to humanity. And the peaceful human-loving carnivores and anti-vegans basically want to crucify the poor man over it, just to let him stand as an example what happens when you make insensitive remarks on the internet. The fudge, carnivores? Is this Tumblr? Why are you people outraged? Like an leftist, angry social justice warrior mob that demands justice for an insensitive joke. Why do you stay outraged for years over something that was never meant to be taken serious in the first place? What do you want, snowflakes? An apology?
Oh no, he needs to apologize for the joke if he didn't like.
Most of the people that are now giving Richard shit for a comment that should have been lost to time by now are the same people that make jokes about niggers, faggots and rape victims every day in the privacy of their own circle. And you can sit there and tell me,
But you don't joke about something like child abuse, that's different.
And to that, my response is, shut the fuck up, you hillbilly. You say that now, but later tonight you'll laugh your ass off while watching children cry and hurt themselves on funniest home videos. Disgusting. And since when have you given a fuck about what other people think you shouldn't joke about? Am I to believe you give a single ounce of a crap when some leftist on YouTube tells you you shouldn't joke about rape? Shut up, you don't care. No, what you want is to have a weapon in your arsenal that you can always use and abuse at any given time to dehumanize someone you don't like. Vegan gains in this case. It's pathetic and you should be ashamed of yourself. The last time I saw someone use this weapon was a couple of weeks ago when a guy called Bart Gage, some 60-year-old senior scientist or something, used it as a way to make some sort of point about how bad and angry Richard is, while he probably cracks some nigger jokes to his buddies. And you know what? I'll let him. People make insensitive jokes. Everyone does. Every single fuck of you like some form of dark, twisted and degrading humor. It's normal and no one should give a fuck if it's insensitive. Especially not 5 fucking years later. Should Richard have made a joke like this publicly? Well, not according to me, but as a way to gain traffic to his then growing channel, he did. What are you gonna do about it now that it's long in the past? Follow him to the end of the world with torches and pitchforks? Come on now, who seems unreasonable in that scenario? But I haven't even started to talk about the funniest and most hypocritical part of all of this. Because nowadays, it's especially funny that this seething hate for vegan gains comes from people like Bart or some other barely noteworthy fucks that promote the carnivore or primal message. Why is that funny, you ask? Because many of them support this little man called Gage's better known as Sv3rige.
When we eat each other, or ourselves, we are playing with each other. When the enlightened ones cut a baby's head off and drink the blood, they have fun. They enjoy themselves. They laugh. They laugh. Because they understand that this is not real. That we are on a playground and that life is about having fun.
And this is not the only time this individual says crazy things like this. Hell, it's even in his title here. This person has talked numerous times about eating children, cannibalism, how you shouldn't have empathy, etc, etc. Now how can people not give a shit when this person is seriously talking about drinking children and cannibalism with no trolling or irony intended? Why do people believe a self-admitted psychopath when he says that eating meat makes you peaceful, while simultaneously giving people advice on biting other people's carotenoid arteries out of self-defense?
Put your arms around them and bite them.
Why do people believe this is a nice, calm dude, even though he clearly has violent loving tendencies and he shows that shamelessly on a regular basis? Now I know some people probably want to point out to me that Gage is not saying that he himself wants to drink baby blood. Okay, fine. He just calls it an enlightening experience that leads to no meaningful consequences. Explain to me why you think that that is any better. Where do you people get the audacity from to stay outraged for years over one yet unserious sentence, yet completely ignore far more serious phrases from another person that keeps making them on the regular and sells it as a spiritual philosophy that others should live by?
People are eating fucking garbage and taking pills, while the enlightened ones are breeding children for food. They want you to eat plants, while they eat children. Just fucking wake up.
Yes! Drain blood from the freshly born, drink it from their skulls, mix their Christmas colored life water with the tears from their mothers, that watch in agony, feast upon meat and do as thy pleased. Die unwoke sheeple, die NPC stuck in the matrix, can choose to condemn my actions, say that it is my reality that's twisted, evil and satanic, but at heart thou too art a Viking that should only live by the just law of nature. I choose to be the hero and villain of my own story. Thou should experience enlightenment through the pain and sorrow inflicted to the most defenseless of all.
I fucking hate children. They literally make me sick. And when I say babies in a stroller, especially when they're crying, I just want to put my foot through a fucking thing and step on it. It's nothing but blood and blood. I'm fucking crazy.
What has humanity become, where one can simply make insulting remarks on the internet? I say no to this heathen, not in my family-friendly Christian neighborhood. We must come together to exorcise this demon away from the sacred grounds of YouTube to the pits of hell with him. Can you not see that Gage's words, his premise, do not at all match his philosophy? Yet why do so many of you act as if it's acceptable? Luckily not all. I see many in the carnivore community wake up to the reality what this person actually does and says. But still, many support him, especially the ones that hate Richard. Why the inconsistency? Well, let me tell you something about the weak, flawed construct we refer to as human psychology. For many of us, how we perceive things, it doesn't matter a whole lot about what's being said. It matters how it's being said. Sounds familiar, right? My fellow dudes have definitely heard it from an emotional girl.
It didn't matter what you said. It mattered how you said it.
It's normal. Humans, both male and female, are emotional creatures. We respond to body language, tone of voice, and even clothing style. For example, have you noticed how much smarter I come off in these nice clothes, with glasses on, than I do when I wear my usual attire? No? Oh. We care somewhat about context and actual dialogue, but unless you are logically or analytically driven, which none of us are 100% of the time, actual context never matters too much. This is why psychopaths like Durian Rider or Onision always tilt their head like this, give you a friendly smile, the puppy eyes, and then in a sweet calm voice they'll talk about doing horrible things like making violent threats and fucking minors. They'll pretty much admit to all their sick fantasies and crimes. To you, the audience. Because they know they can get away with it. They know most of you don't care about the dialogue, but that you do care about how the dialogue is being delivered. Which is why Gage can get away with saying horribly evil shit. Because he does it in a calm manner. And he does it in the name of what's just. Which is nature in this case. But that doesn't take away the reality of how fucked up it really is. Now, I don't think Gage is smart enough to understand what he is doing when it comes to selling himself. But just because, like Harley, he keeps saying over and over again how nice, peaceful, happy and well-adjusted his diet made him, to himself and others, people eat it up. I mean, on the daily I get comments from people telling I should listen to a guy that clearly lives in a fantasy world most of the time, that was so far removed from reality that when he was deep into his 20s, he thought that women could grow beards like us guys. Because according to his followers, them, this individual makes oh so fucking much sense. Such a smart person, isn't he? Hey, it's not as if people have ever followed incompetent diet gurus before. It's a fucking game, people. Richard is not the devil and Gage is not a perfectly adjusted human being with no mental issues. I think he's far from it actually, but it probably takes someone that can see a bit further than body language and tone of voice to see it. Because, frankly, when it comes to judging someone's actual character, that's how far most of you will ever get. And you know, Gage, if you feel Richard did a good job to apologize, then I sure as hell think you should make an apology too. Because you might not have made threats to people at a poor attempt of comedic purpose, but you sure as hell spread some dangerous philosophical ideas, my dude. Anyway, you just watched Machismo, that's me. I wish you all a nice day and I'll see you in the next video.